If we could switch gears a little bit and go a little deeper into your career here, go back into the 80s. What was your association with Garbage Pail Kids?
Good Lord, Eric. You're going back. My
what?
first.
I'm looking. So
What?
You're going to love this.
So
You know
Eric-
Garbage Pail Kids?
Of course.
Oh,
Who doesn't
well,
know
she's older.
Garbage
She
Pail
said she's
Kids?
older than she looks.
So Eric tells me, you're going to be on the show this week, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's awesome, So I start, looking up and checking some stuff out, and the first thing that really caught me. I mean, a bunch of stuff I knew already, but the Garbage Pail Kids thing completely blew me away. I was like, really? So, did you write card backs? Is that what it was?
And the fronts. Life of a gag writer, Michael.
I still have them all.
Do you?
Yes.
That's awesome.
People still send them to me in the mail to sign and send back.
Were you coming up with the names?
Sometimes, and I'd write the backs. The backs were always different. I also did a thing called Wacky Packs. Does anybody
I
remember
remember
those?
Wacky
Yes.
Packs.
I could still buy those.
Yeah, those have deeper roots. Garbage Pail Kids, I think, was an '80s thing,
Yeah.
and the Wacky Packs actually go back to the '60s.
Wasn't
I wrote
there a
them
movie
in the
too?
'90s.
Wasn't there a Garbage Pail Kids
There
movie?
was an unwatchable GPK movie.
It was
yeah.
a terrible
Yeah.
movie.
Did you have anything to do with that?
Nothing,
Nothing?
sir. No, I was in LA
Don't
hanging by
lie,
my
we'll
thumbs
know.
by that point. Yeah, you will know. I went to art school. I went to the School of Visual Arts.
So did you get any real money from your time with the Garbage Pail Kids? Like, do you have any royalties to anything?
Those are called works for hire, which is
Right.
a phrase you might be familiar with. I was an art school student, and I was studying with people who did this kind of thing. There was a guy named Art Spiegelman. You guys would know that name if you're fans of graphic novels.
Yep.
And when he wasn't winning a Pulitzer for creating Mouse, he was the co-creator of Garbage Pail Kids, which I don't know how many people Art wants to know about that, but there it is, it's out there. And they would give you $100 a day to come to Tops, which was in a little old factory in Red Hook, Brooklyn, that was lost in time. You'd go there, you'd get lunch for a day, a scoop of potato salad on a tray. I'm sure there was asbestos everywhere. And you'd go and you'd get $100 a day to be a gag man, to write. I used to write Bazooka Joe gags.
Oh, wow.
That's
That
so
was
cool.
next on my list here.
I was
with the bazooka.
24. I was in college. And
That's my dream
I
job.
just left college.
How do you get that job? Like, it's not a matter of doing it. It's like, how do you even know to apply to that?
I didn't. A guy named Mark Newgarden, who's a cartoonist, and Drew Friedman, whose work you guys must know. I
know, yeah,
would
Drew
assume it
Friedman, yeah.
if you don't get into it, because it's great stuff. I'm looking at Piscopo playing Sinatra up here on the TV, and it's weirding me out.
I got Piscopo on my screen in front of me.
It's
Like, get
weirding me
away
out.
from Piscopo here.
But
It's haunting us.
Drew was a very well-known cartoonist. We had him as a guest on the podcast, and he was drawing these things. And a lot of the cartoonists that were knocking around SVA at the time told me you should go to Tops and you should ask about this, and they'll give you $100 for the day, which was money then.
Yeah, sure.
When you're, I was a student to write these things, and I would go there, and they would just throw stuff at me, whatever they had in development. And I would sit in on some very, very strange meetings because the grossology books were big. Then
Right.
gross out stuff was
Right.
big for kids, and GPK had been such a monster for Tops
Yep.
that they kept trying to, to
Capitalize on it.
capitalize or to repeat something. And they would have these meetings with these old men who'd been at Tops since the 50s, sitting around saying, "What do we do? Well, how do we capture that Garbage Pail
What's
audience?"
the follow-up to Glandular Angela?
And they had candy. They had meetings I used to sit in on, candy development meetings, where they would say, "What about earwax? Kids will go for that." They would try to come up with gross out stuff. But there were no kids in this meeting. It was 60-year-old men trying to figure out what kids would buy. And I remember sitting in on meetings, and somebody said, "What if we took a toy like a figure and we put the belly button lint was cotton candy? Would they go for that?" And these were the development meetings that I used to sit in at
Dingleberries.
times.
Let's talk about dingleberries.
Well, they
kind of
came out with a
amazing.
thing called Pick and Choose, which was a nose, and you could look this up. I don't even know if it's online. And the candy was green,
was like nerds.
boogers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had that.
And then there was a thing called the Barfo family, which was vomit, which was candy vomit. And I kid you not. And
It was gummy, wasn't it? Right? And like
was
chunky. And I kind of remember that.
It was a head. It was a toy plastic head, a molded head of a family. There was a father. It was the Barfo family. I'll send you guys a picture. I have one at home. And there was a plunger, and it was gelatin candy. And if you push the plunger on the bottom, the vomit candy, the gelatin, would come out of the mouth. And they marketed this. And that,
nice.
I mean, these guys aren't wrong. This is gold.
it was gold. And that was my
Where
that was
this
my
sold?
job.
Were
Wow.
regular toy stores selling this?
You could get. I don't know if the Barfo family was something that ever really made it past like the development stage. I don't know if it actually got to stores, but I have a box at home.
Do you have? I was going to say, does somebody have like hundreds of them, like when people used to collect Cabbage Patch Kids, thinking they're gonna, this is gonna be my retirement plan. They bought thousands of them, and now they're worth nothing.
Recent years of GPK sites have sprung up, and I was saying people send me the stuff to sign. And
they're coming back. There's new cards coming out this year. Funko, which is a toy company we talk about all the time, has a great license of toys coming out this year. So GPK is still pretty hot.